LeEco have been making waves since their entry into the smartphone market. Flash sales, packed internals, too good to believe pricing. Now, if all that sounds familiar to you, that's because that's a formula that's been tried and tested by a certain other Chinese brand. Now, today in this video, we're going to be taking a look at LeEco's La1S. Priced at 10,999 rupees here in India, that's about $200 for my international viewers. With a spec sheet that reads like a dream, this seems to be one of the more interesting devices I've come across in recent times. So, is it as good as LeEco wants you to think? Or is there more to this phone than meets the eye? Well, let's find out. But before we do, if this is your first time here, or in case you're all caught up trying to get that pronunciation just right, well, you're not alone, my friend. My name's Ash. This is C4 Tech, and you're watching my full review of the LeEco La1S. Let's get started. So today, let's break tradition and start with the specs. The La1S is powered by the 64-bit MediaTek MT6795T, more commonly known as the Helio X10 chip. Now that's 8 Cortex A53 cores clocked at 2.2 GHz each, coupled with a PowerVR G6200 GPU and 3 gigs of RAM. We have 30 gigs of onboard storage, and then there's a 3000 mAh non-user replaceable battery powering all this. The synthetic benchmark scores are great, especially when you take price into account, and this phone also manages to deliver real good day-to-day performance. With regards to graphically intensive scenarios like gaming, it did manage to hold its own. But do note that thanks to the metal construction, it does tend to feel a little warm, but it doesn't overheat or cause throttling. So as long as you keep your expectations realistic and don't expect it to perform like a phone priced twice as high, this phone will deliver. Audio via the internal speaker was quite decent. Audio via the 3.5mm headphone jack was also good. Cellular reception and call quality was top notch. Had no issues with drops, and the quality was crystal clear. The 3000 mAh battery inside does perform well. On a looping video playback test, the La1S managed to last about 9 hours before running out of juice. With moderate usage, I was able to get through a day on a single charge with about 20% charge left on each of the 5 days that I used this phone as my primary device. My regular usage involved Wi-Fi and 3G on all day, social media, push notifications, quite a bit of email, a couple of hours of calls, 15-20 minutes of casual gaming, Sudoku, Crossy Road, and a bit of video streaming. Do note that the La1S has support for quick charging, and I've been able to charge it from 0 to 100 in under 2 hours, in about an hour and a half to be precise. So with that, let's talk build. The La1S is built entirely out of metal and looks a tad generic but premium nonetheless. LeEco's done a good job here. Right from the inclusion of an IR blaster to the mirror finish for that fingerprint scanner to the beautifully chamfered edges, the La1S oozes quality. I also like how the capacitive keys and the notification LED aren't visible until they are lit. And then the fact that the 1S is just 7.5mm thick, weighs in at less than 170 grams, and the relatively small footprint despite sporting a 5.5-inch display, that's just the cherry on top. This also means that for the most part, the La1S can be used single-handed. The software has a little to do with this, so we'll get to that in a bit. Now, let's focus on the 5.5-inch display instead. So LeEco's gone with a 5.5-inch Full HD IPS LCD display for the 1S. That's over 400 pixels per inch for those keeping count. It's also worth mentioning that the display is covered by Corning's Gorilla Glass 3 for protection. This display is sharp, vivid, the viewing angles are great, and it's quite a bright panel, so it's Legible Outdoors. Talking about outdoors, let's talk camera. The La1S sports a 13-megapixel rear camera with Samsung's ISOCELL technology and a lens with a f/2.0 aperture. Then there's also face detection autofocus. I kinda feel I spoiled this one with my title. The almost aspect of the title comes from the camera because this is a mediocre performer at best. While you can get decent shots outdoors, images tend to feel a little washed out, the dynamic range is lacking, but it does get colors right more often than not, and the detail levels are okay. In low light though, it struggles even more. Surprisingly, this camera can shoot 4K video and the resulting footage was actually good. The 5-megapixel front-facing shooter uses a 85-degree wide-angle lens and manages to perform decently. This camera UI is nothing to write home about. Extremely iOS-ish, with more options hidden under settings. The shutter response is quite fast though. Talking about the user interface, the La1S runs on Android 5.0.2 Lollipop with LeEco's custom EUI on top. EUI, like most typical Chinese custom UIs, doesn't come with an app drawer. There's quite a bit changed from stock. Now here's something you need to know about me. I don't like interfaces that don't let me pull down the notification bar and access settings. That's just a pet peeve of mine. It's something that most interfaces let you do, but not LeEco's EUI. But I did get used to it quite quick and I found myself liking the interface. Why? Well, for starters, the quick toggles moving to the recent app screen makes it easier to use the phone single-handed. Similarly, LeEco's attention to detail is quite impressive. For example, when you use a pin on your phone, depending on how you swipe, the numbers align. Again, this helps with single-handed usage. I didn't really expect to like the UI, but little things like this kinda got me to change my mind. It's also worth mentioning that the fingerprint scanner to the back is an absolute pleasure to use. It's one of the most accurate scanners that I've come across and it does a great job. It also happens to be very quick. Just like with most rear fingerprint scanner implementations, it lets you wake and unlock your device by just placing your finger over it. Additionally, you can also use it to take pictures. Nice. Now, overall, EUI on the Lavan S seems quick. The phone feels fast and responsive. Well, just looking at the free RAM available might cause one to conclude that the Lavan S is a resource hog. It really isn't. It does have its fair share of memory management issues, like those leading to missed WhatsApp notifications, but that's got more to do with optimization than the amount of memory itself. Minor niggles apart, EUI feels very mature. It's stable, very quick, smooth, and consistent. In this regard, it actually manages to fare better than some phones that are priced over 2 times higher. Good stuff from LeEco. And with that, we get to the price. Here in India, the Lavan S is priced at Rs 10,999 and is available exclusively via Flipkart. Sadly, though, you need to register and participate in flash sales in order to get your hands on one. If LeEco isn't available in your country, you can order it internationally for a little over $200 from merrymobiles.com. And for that price, I feel the Lavan S offers great value. And some features it's included, say for example, the stellar fingerprint scanner, 4K video recording, and IR blaster, dual band Wi-Fi AC. You can find phones that are priced much higher that don't have these features. So I'd say the Lavan S punches well above its weight. If you do want to pick one up, I'll leave direct links in the description below to both Flipkart and Merry Mobiles. Do use them if you want to help the channel out. So I guess that's it for this video. Like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Constructive criticism, head on over to the comments below. And if you have any video requests for me, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at C4ETech. And I guess that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ashia from C4ETech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.